Welcome to Grant's Prog Warehouse, and tonight I want to welcome Rand Kelly and Scott from the Prog Corner. We are going to look at the studio albums from the Enid. So we're starting out this series, we're looking at the studio albums from 1976 to 1980. So without any further ado, let's get this one started. Welcome to Grant's Prog Warehouse, and tonight we really do have a special episode. I've got, well, everyone's seen Rand Kelly before, but now tonight we've got Scott from the Prog Corner, and we are going to talk about the band, the Enid. And people are going to go, wait, what, Grant? What?
Who?
Because this is very exactly, Scott. Very obscure. This is a topic that our good friend Rand Kelly came with because he thought, well, of course, everyone knows that my show is really about promoting these artists that no one talks about. Am I going to?
This is a perfect example.
This is a perfect example. Yeah. No one's talking about this prog band, but we are here today. And if anybody else knows what goes on this channel, we try to promote these bands and no one talks about. Am I going to set the world on fire? Probably not. Scott will probably set the world on fire, but I probably won't. But tonight we are talking about the band, the Enid, which basically, I mean, they've been around, 1973 to 1999, and then they broke up. The band disillusioned, or what do you call it? What do you call it, Scott?
Yeah, they went on a hiatus, I guess.
Then started up 2002, and then they're still here to get today. It was founded by keyboardist and composer Robert John Godfrey. Now, if you know his work, there's Rand. Thank God Rand's got crap to show. He was in Barclay James Harvest.
Yeah.
So he's also a recording artist on the Charisma label. In 2014 he won some kind of visionary award for progressive music. I mean, the guy is something else.
He was on those first two Barclay James Harvest albums. He was the conductor of the Barclay James Harvest Orchestra, and he was the guy that orchestrated all that really cool stuff on those first two albums by them. And then our good buddy Rand showing off that first solo album by him, which is not technically an Enid album.
I love the artwork, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but it might as well be. I mean, first of all, that album is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that first song is called The Raven on that thing. It is so good. And then there's the last song, which is this epic. It's unbelievable, 15-minute long track that's just awesome. And
called The Shaman of the World.
That's it. I love that track, man. I haven't heard that thing in 20 years, but that record is amazing. I should have really listened to it before we talked about the first four Enid albums, but that's technically not an album by the Enid, so I'm going to cut myself a little slack.
You're fine, Scott, because we keep it loose.
I'm sorry, but I had it for a month and it's been sitting around. I haven't even played it yet.
It's good.
I used to have the LP, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's every bit as good as the first four Enid albums, which we're going to be talking about today. As we should be talking about today. If that album were completely all instrumental, like these albums we're talking about today, it would be every bit as good. It suffers a little bit from vocals. But these first four albums from the Enid are so cool. They're so different than anything anybody else was doing at the time, before or after. I mean, they really are kind of like a singularity that they decided not to be like a band playing rock and mix it with some classical. They kind of flipped that whole thing upside down, and it's a classical inspired band with some rock elements to it, and it messes with my brain. It just does.
Well, if you think about it, this all started out during that whole punk rock movement. what
Yeah.
they
And
were
disco.
doing is totally goes against the grain with anything that's going on at the time,
Yeah.
you know? And the only reason that these first albums have no vocals is because the lead singer committed suicide in 1975. So you've got like 4 albums with no vocals, but these albums are really highly thought after in the prog community.
They're great records, and you talked about the timing. The first one, In the Region of the Summer Stars, came out right at
Rand. There he is.
For the visual, Rand, right on time. This thing came out right in the dead center of the heart of the summer of punk. And God Save the Queen, the Queen's Silver Jubilee, and the Sex Pistols are out on the Thames on their boat playing the music and getting banned by the BBC. And here comes some band playing this stuff. And let me tell you something. Apparently, there was a good percentage of punkers in London that were really vibing with this band, oddly enough, because they were new, so they could attach to them whatever they wanted to. The ironic vision that RJ had, or maybe just because they were brand new, so they could call them their band, where the Yes and the Genesis of the world were obviously dinosaurs and obviously were terrible and we hate them, even though we know they were all lying through their teeth. John Lydon famously wearing that I Hate Pink Floyd shirt all around London. He was a huge fan. He loved them. He loved the Underground Generators. It was all marketing, but you're absolutely right. The timing this thing came out, it made no sense. And it got zero traction in the States.
No one in the States knows anything about this band.
Actually, to tell you the truth, this did get released in the United States. The other 3 didn't.
Well, what label did that come out on, Rand?
London.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buck Records, BUK.
Yeah, the Buck subsidiary of London. Yeah, the first 2 came out on Buck.
So these were in the shops.
They were, but they got zero traction. I mean,
you mean they were in the cutout bins?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at that.
See, it's a cutout. Of course, no one's going to buy that.
Look at that.
I had.
Is it a white label? White label promo?
Started with that album in a cutout bin. Absolutely. I did find it in a record store. I did buy it. And I actually kind of lost my way with them. I did not hear the second album or the third album.
Not white.
And then I started working in a record store, and this thing called the 6 Pieces comes out. And I'm like, the Enid. Yeah, I remember those guys. And I went back and got there it is.
This is where I started, Scott. This was my first one.
Yeah, that was my second Enid album.
Well, I heard
and
that
went back
first
and
song, Punch and Judy, man, and it just tore my head off. But I'll say more about that later.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, they're in the Region of the Summer Stars. That was my introduction to them, and it really did mess with my head. I liked it. I don't know if I loved it at the time, because I was listening to a lot of different kind of music at that time too. And like the rest of the world, maybe the prog I was starting to move away from. I was starting to grow up a little bit, and my bands were starting to go in different directions. So I, looking back, think it's probably their best record.
Oh.
I really do like that debut album a lot. I think there's so much there to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the balance between classicism and rockism is right where I enjoy it the most. But like we were saying in the preamble, all 4 of these albums, these first 4 Enid albums, are all special in their own way. But I dig the first one a lot.
I'm just curious
that the 2 guitar players kind of sound like they just joined Beethoven. It's kind of like Thin Lizzy went Beethoven.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. Of course, we know by 83, something wicked this way comes. Say that real fast.
Yeah.
That's when we started to have lyrics.
Yeah. That one.
I mean, what's your thought? I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people think that those first 4 albums are like gold. But once they start having lyrics, I'm just curious, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, did that take anything away from it?
Or it did for me.
Okay.
To me, I thought the Enid was a instrumental band. Not only did they throw vocals in, on album number 5, but it's this weird, like fake opera voice thing going on that I don't know. I don't dig it at all.
It reminds me of 10cc.
Okay, but I love 10cc. So.
Well, I do too, but
the way they did the vocals.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll listen to it from coming from that angle. Maybe I'll get it because it always threw me off. And
but I mean, if you're looking at the Enid from the beginning of what you're used to,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden they throw vocals in, and you don't really know any history or any reason why.
Yeah,
it could throw you off.
Oh, and that was another import-only album. It never got released in the United States.
And I don't think any of their 80s records did because they put out The Spell.
Yeah, I got that too.
85, and then what? Salome or whatever that was in 87.
I stopped. I bought Fanned. They released Fanned as one album.
Right.
That was 86 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I just dropped off. I went into heavy metal or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we all kind of went away from the prog at a certain point in either the late 70s or the early 80s. At some point, you just had to cut your losses. Your heart can only be broken so many times. You can only endure so many love beaches before you decide, you know what, maybe being a Chicago Cubs fan's really not a good idea, but I actually enjoyed their comeback album with Joe Payne, that Invicta album that came out in 2012. I thought was really, really good. And
I love Journey's End. It came out even earlier, and it's mind-blowing. I love it.
Which one?
Journey's End.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
2010.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's way better than Invicta.
Really?
Yeah, you want me to go grab it? I can show it as a pro.
No,
sure,
yeah,
you can grab it.
Yeah, show it if you got it.
But Scott, I was just thinking, if you think about that first album that came out, it came out on EMI.
Yeah.
It just
EMI International, yeah.
Right, but it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. Do you know what the story was? How did they get signed and all that? Was it because of
beautiful artwork on that?
Yeah, and Joe Payne's on this. This is the first time I heard him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
what year did that come out?
Album.
Rand, what year was that?
2010.
2010.
Yeah. Oh, well, looky there.
This is really good, you guys. This is one of the best, I think.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
cool.
yeah, they signed it for me, didn't they? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
do you think
really
you buy directly from the band?
I'm just surprised they even got signed to EMI. Does anybody know the story of that? How
I think the story there is he had enough connections working in the industry that he had no problem getting signed, apparently. From what I understand, he had several different labels still snapping. And you got to figure this is probably 75 when he got signed.
Yeah.
That solo album came out on Charisma in 74. So there's still probably like the phantom limb syndrome where these labels think there's maybe some life left in the old beast known as prog rock, that they were looking for it still. So yeah, he got signed, I believe, and there might have even have been like a minor bidding war for them at the very beginning, and obviously sales never met expectations.
No.
And guess what? Second album, Airy Fairy Nonsense, recorded at Morgan Studios, the same place that Yes did Tales from Topographic Ocean.
So what label was that on? Was that on EMI?
This is EMI.
Yeah, that was EMI.
All right. Well, I don't know how much. Okay, I don't really know, but I'm just curious what their contract was. I mean, how many records were they contracted to do?
I believe it was a 2-record deal because their third album was on Pi, as was their fourth.
Third album was Touch Me.
And then I think that label kind of went belly up, and that really didn't help their commercial fortunes at all. This is a band that never really got any label support. Like I said, I don't really remember ever hearing about the Enid in the US press at all, ever. And as a kid, I read them all, Cream and Trouser Press and Circus and Rolling Stone. I read them all cover to cover, devoured them. I don't think there was ever even a single mention of a band called the Enid.
And
I mean,
they
until
toured-
Rand brought it up, I wouldn't even. And I
They
like
toured-
Prog, and
here's
they're
a
just like
picture
a
of 'em
blip on the
stage
screen.
here. But in 1979, but they toured in '84. They toured, but they played Stonehenge Festival with Hawkwind. They were always with Hawkwind.
Really?
There are recordings. There are recordings that actually, if you buy them, you get Hawkwind and the Enid
Oh, that's
live,
nice.
live at Stonehenge.
So
that's
we're
pretty
so Rand, I'm going to throw it over to you for a minute. Scott already mentioned he thought that the first Enid record is, well, the best one of them all. What's your thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
Oh dear God. Well,
Get ready, Scott, because if we unleash Rand,
Yeah.
be ready, brace yourself.
The first time I heard the band was Punch and Judy Man.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, there's a little story that goes with this. I'll tell you real quick. We're in this record store. It was probably Licorice Pizza and Los Gatos. But anyways, my buddies had that first album, and I pulled this up out of the racks, and they go, "Hey, I know that name. We know that name.
Yeah. I remember.
We bought
those
that
guys.
first one." And I go, "Yeah, I don't know, whatever. You think it's any good?" And I'm looking at it and stuff, and they go, "Yeah, it's probably pretty good. You got to buy it." And they're kind of giggling in the background at me,
You know what
thinking
that
I'm gonna
means.
thinking I'm gonna get a turkey. And so they say it again. You say, "You got to buy that Enid album." I said, "Okay, what the hell? I'll buy it. It's only $6 or whatever." And we get home to the house where we're staying at in San Jose, and they put it on, and Punch and Judy Man plays, and the guy cranks it, and everybody's just looking around going, "What the hell is this? This doesn't sound anything like In the Region of the Summer Stars." I mean,
yeah.
they were blown away. Punch and Judy Man blew my mind. I go, "Is this whole album going to be like this?"
No.
And the answer is no.
No, it's not.
But there's a good song down the road,
Oh.
down on the end of side one called "The Ringmaster," which is
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that's a great tune. But
That's a lot like
the thing.
Circus.
That's the thing about the Enid is they could throw in a rockin' song, and then even within that same song, next thing you know, there's this orchestra coming in.
Yeah.
The next song's just going to be a piano ballad, and then after that, it's going to be something totally different. And you're never bored as a listener, to me. With
and three
those first
keyboard
4 Enid
players.
albums.
I looked on the back of the album before I bought it, and it said keyboards, and bass guitar, guitars and bass guitar, guitars, drums, and all percussion. And I'm going, how can you miss?
Exactly.
Rand likes
But
all
the
those.
second
He's good
song-
with that.
But the second, well, in the old days, that's how we had to judge albums. The
Yeah,
album
that's
cover
right. You looked at
what was being
the
played
song
on it.
titles
and the instrumentation.
and the
'cause it's a
instrumentation.
musician.
Yep.
I used to buy everything with the word Moog. I
Yeah.
just buy it. Or Mellotron, you know. what I mean?
Or 3 keyboard players. That's all I
Yeah,
need
right.
to know.
Eli Craig.
Spring.
Don't
you
get
know?
me started with Eli Craig, because
Yeah.
that's one nighter. Oh my God.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyways, the second song is called "What She Was," and I didn't think anything of it. And it says Martin Russell, Robert Godfrey, and it says traditional. And I'm going, traditional. And I put it on, and it's Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair
Yeah.
in a really weird arrangement. Very mellow. It's so different than the opening number. It's just like that was just like, it's like Sound Chaser and then dropping off to like Angkor Wat from Union. You know what I mean?
Well, I like how they incorporate different classical themes.
Mhm.
You hear pieces of Prokofiev, you hear pieces of Grieg, you hear pieces of Holst, you hear little snippets of the great composers that you know RJ puts in the music. It's really cool.
Well, when you look at this guy really close with a beard, he looks like Beethoven. I've seen pictures of Beethoven on my encyclopedias when I was a kid.
You sure that's not Brian Eno?
Yeah, he looks more like
Or
Brian
you know what?
Eno
Who
to
it
me.
really looks like? It looks like Kim Mitchell from Max Webster's. Who it
There
looks
you
like.
go.
He went bald too. But I'm just saying, the composing of this guy, he
Yeah.
does borrow. I'll give him that. You know that one in the region of the Summer Stars, it's called "The Last Judgment."
Yeah.
I heard that on an Argent album called Nexus. It's called "The Coming of Cahutek,"
Okay.
about the comet.
Yeah.
And they go, and I go, I know that. That's the Enid. And everybody goes, no, it's Friends List. They're all ripping him off.
Oh yeah. And I hear so much of that throughout the orchestration. And I'm totally fine with that.
Me too. I have no problem with it.
It's recycling. There's rappers out there making millions of dollars taking snippets of this, that, and the other thing. There's worse people you can sample than Liszt and Holtz than Dvorak and Sibelius.
Well,
come on, man.
Emerson's Knife Edge rips totally
Oh yeah.
from that Janicek guy, but he
yeah.
did put the credit on the album. He had to. Apparently, they got upset about that.
and apparently they were very good about going to the heirs of classical composers or whatever directly to Aaron Copland to get permission, which was cool on Emerson, Lake and Palmer's part. They probably didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
They did
probably
though.
all public domain stuff. I don't know.
Hard to say. So if you're going to rate this first album, I'm just curious. Of course, everybody's got me converted to rate everything out of 10 now. What would you rate it? What would you rate it?
In the region of the summer stars, I'm giving it a I'm gonna go pitchfork style with the decimal points.
That's fine.
I'm gonna go 8.8.
All right. Rand, what's your thoughts?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
God, I love this band so much. It's really hard to. I gotta think for the debut to be as good as it is, and it sounds as good as it is, I'm gonna give In the Region of the Summer Stars a 10.
Okay. That's
all right.
fair.
Bold. I love it.
Excellent. That's freaking top notch. So if we go look at that second album,
the Airy Fairy Nonsense.
Airy Fairy Nonsense. I'm glad you pronounced it because I'm looking at it going, how do I even pronounce it?
With the seashells and the starfish, man. The first time I saw this album, I'm like, no, thank you.
It's Airy Fairy.
I think she's supposed to be a mermaid. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's some kind of mermaid, but whatever. I looked at that. I'm like, that's not a band I necessarily want to be associated with. By that point in time, I kind of discovered Judas Priest and stuff like that. Airy Fairy.
Well, that's totally different. Totally different genre.
But I'll tell you what, I came around, like I said, after 6 pieces, I went back and got Airy Fairy and Touch Me, and it is by far the highest rated Enid album on Prog Archives.
Okay.
This one?
Yeah.
Rand, is your copy, is that an EMI or is that a later press?
Yeah, it's EMI Records, yeah.
Okay, look at Rand.
It says Honeybee Records,
Yeah.
1977.
Is that like an original pressing? Honeybee.
Yes,
Honeybee was the original. Yeah, that's the original label.
Yeah, this is an original. I bought this at the Works in Eureka where Mike Patton used to. I always plug him. But
that Mike Patton, God knows
song,
where he is now, but we're plugging him.
This song called Child Roland is just killer.
Amazing. There's a reason why it's the #1 rated Enid album on Prog Archives. My personal favorite will always be the debut, but I totally get fans of this album. Side 1 is so strong. It took me a while to get into the whole fan suite on side 2. A little, airy and long-winded and
it is
relaxing.
But you know what I found out about Fan? If you get the reunion DVD that they put out,
they put a live album out in '83 that has a great version of it.
Yeah, but they put it. You're talking about Live at Hammersmith.
Yeah.
But they put out a DVD of Francis Licorice reuniting with the band.
Yeah.
And he wrote Fan, the whole thing, the story and all that. And just to watch him perform it live is just stunning.
Oh wow. I bet because it is a great piece. It just takes a while to get into,
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. So you guys, well, I know Scott thinks the first album's the best, but let's say someone new, because a lot of the, no one is on this show is probably ever going to know who the Enid is.
Yeah.
Let's say you throw out the second album, you throw it out to the what is there anything on the planet that it even remotely compares to? I don't think it does. It is its own animal, but I'm just
Oh,
curious.
the band is unique to themselves. There's
Right.
nobody else doing
There's
this.
no one like
Yeah.
it, Scott. There's nothing.
Yeah, they came fully formed. He had a vision of taking this whole rock mixed with classical and flipping it completely upside down.
Yeah.
Nobody sounds like them. I can't
Yeah.
think of anybody that's ever sounded like them. There's been bands that have, dabbled with orchestras and stuff
Mhm.
since time immemorial, since, Procol Harum did it and Deep Purple did it. And,
Yeah.
it's been done a million times, but
Fire Ballet.
yeah, exactly. But this is just this band just takes it to another level.
I don't know if you can
I
see this.
can't really
Well-
think of a comparison. No.
Can you see that shirt on this chair?
What is that? A Judas Priest album cover? I can't tell.
Fire Ballet, Night on Bald Mountain.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I can't tell. Well, I'm
That's-
just curious. Like,
love
if you
Fire
look
Ballet.
at the first album and you look at the second album,
yeah.
how did they progress from that first album to this album? Because I don't know. Randy,
There's less rock on it.
say
Yeah.
that again.
There's much less rock on
Yeah.
it.
Not much less rock.
Yeah.
It's more like in the region of the Summer Stars song, where it's just kind of lilts and kind of feels like a butterfly kind of flying around the meadow, that fan. I mean, not the what fan, we already talked about that. The full whole side does all kinds of different things.
Mhm.
Doesn't get real rocky, but they do get majestic. They will build things up, even if the tempos are slow, and they'll bring up the volume, like crescendo
Mhm.
the actual sound, and they can get very, very intense when they
Well,
want to.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because going back, listening to these albums again, yeah, it just reminded of the Volume Wars and the absolute complete lack of any kind of dynamic
Oh, yeah, I was
compression
gonna
at
say, these
all
guys
on
are the
this record.
dynamic.
The quiet parts are so quiet, you're gonna think your speakers are broken, man. It's just
You
And
wouldn't
then when
want
it
to.
builds-
You wouldn't want
Can
to
you
put like a
imagine driving
remaster
around
out
on the
done by.
highway listening to this stuff?
But it's a lot of dynamic range. You couldn't
Yeah.
remaster this in today's modern brick wall
No, I wouldn't
society.
wanna
It would
hear it.
not have the same impact.
no.
These
At all.
guys, to me, are the kings of dynamics.
Yeah.
Nobody does dynamics like this band.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe they were precursors of some, post rock in their own weird way. Because it's not that far removed from, soundtrack music. It's not that far removed from electronic stuff like Vangelis, even though it's, obviously a whole different instrumentation, but just the intent of the Enid is completely different than any of the other titans of prog rock. They were approaching it from a much different angle, from a composer's angle, and with a lot of wit and a wink. Obviously he knew what he was doing, naming this album Airy Fairy Nonsense. Come on, man. In 1977, when you got dudes running around with nose rings and, stuff poking out of every hole and tattooed and, the Mohawk dudes, and he puts out an album called Airy Fairy Nonsense.
Well, Yes puts out an album with a guy's naked butt. They get away with it.
Yeah. But, it
But you know what I was
just
gonna
shows he
say?
didn't care.
You know what I was going to say about Child of Roland? That when I close my eyes and listen to that, I think of a swashbuckler movie like Errol Flynn jumping from sail to sail, flying on a rope and cutting people with swords. That's what I hear in that song.
Yeah.
That song is total pirate.
It is a Saturday morning swashbuckler kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm so glad you hear it too, Scott.
Yeah,
Really.
Errol Flynn. No, that's a great track. Easily my favorite song on that
Yes.
album.
And there's a live version of it on. I've got something called Final Noise. I don't know if you ever heard that one. But yeah, I've got that on CD. That was really hard to get, by the way, in '89.
Yeah, did they have a couple bonus tracks on there?
I think so.
A couple
Let me
live
go
things,
see.
probably.
Let me go look real quick, okay? You guys just talk amongst yourselves.
But yeah, so that I would probably give Airy Fairy Nonsense an 8.5 out of 10. And you are muted, Grant.
Wow, that was
Oh
a
yeah, there
fail.
we go. There we go. Yeah.
Scott, that
Final
was a
noise,
fail.
right?
Yeah.
And the tracks are, can I read the tracks?
Yeah.
Child Roland, they start with that, right? That's a good opener. Hall of Mirrors, which I think is from Six Pieces. Song for Europe, Something Wicked This Way Comes, Sheets of Blue, Chaldean Crossing, La Rage, Earthborn, and Jerusalem. But everybody kind of thought they were going to break up with this, but they didn't really. Obviously, because this is 89. Yeah, it's on the
89.
Enid label. They actually had their own company back then, The Stand or whatever. So yeah, this is a real, what do you call it? Authorized version. I love this, by the way.
Nice.
I was so glad to get it because it was so hard to get their records.
Oh yeah, they're not easy to get, and you never see them out in the wild. You never hear anybody talking about this band. And I just scored this 8.5 out of 10, Rand. How about you?
Oh, I'd give it a 10.
Randall give it a 10 all day.
He loves this band.
I'm just curious, but do you guys know what the story was? Because, you know, they were on EMI. All this went out of print. Evidently, the rights went back to the band. But when they put out like the first record, they totally changed the first artwork.
Yeah.
And they put out all these CDs themselves.
Yeah.
That has bonus tracks, right, Grant?
Uh-oh. Siri's
Oh, yeah.
talking to me. I must have said something.
I turned her off years ago.
Oh yeah, I think all those.
Yeah, this has got bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder why they changed the artwork. I'm just
Well, look at
he
the
shouldn't
label.
have.
Look at the label down on the bottom. Does it say
well,
Inner Sanctum?
it's produced by the band put it out.
Oh, it does say that. Okay, on the back of the record, does it say Inner Sanctum?
Oh, for God's sakes.
I mean, on the back cover.
God, if I could read it.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Yeah,
I can't read it on my
Well,
glasses.
anyway,
Are you kidding?
I was going to tell a quick story about Inner Sanctum. Maybe
Go
I should
ahead,
wait.
sell it. We're all right. We're all right.
Okay, the band
We've
would
done
prefer-
two records in a half an hour. We go an hour. We're good. Go ahead.
The band would prefer, if people want to get into this group, that they buy their authorized versions where they get the money. And Inner Sanctum and them have been in a war for a long time. And so if you want to help the band out, don't buy anything with Inner Sanctum on it.
Oh.
I read that somewhere.
Well, I know these versions were actually put out by the band.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well-
yeah, they did change the cover though, and I don't know.
I don't know what the
know
story
why.
was because I don't know. Who
No.
knows?
But
One of
then,
those
then,
things.
then this came out, Touch Me,
Yeah.
which is the third album.
1979. So there was a little bit of a break.
Now there's an
about it.
interesting fun fact here. You guys
What?
know the British guy Jim Newstead. He does
Yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, we know
Well, he
Jimmy.
did this whole album.
Yeah.
Because he ended up buying it in like just for out of the blue. He just bought a bunch of records.
Oh, I
And I
didn't
said-
see him do that.
I said, I know that band. I'm really a big fan, and I've been trying to get him to play Punch and Judy, man. He goes, but I'm gonna do this album today called The Enid Touch Me, and I about
Wow.
fell off my bed.
That's awesome.
He
Well,
loved it. He thought it
I'm
was
just going to say though, real quick before we go to Touch Me. Think about this, gentlemen. In the 70s, you know, people had to put out records fairly. Of course, the Enid wasn't going to sell. We're talking a gap from 1977 to 1979.
Yeah.
What
You don't
do you
wanna
guys
take
know?
them.
What was the story? Why did it take them so long?
I think we had I think we had legal issues even that far back in the Enid's history. I think they were done with EMI and they were in negotiations with Pi. But apparently the dude that ran that label was a real shyster. And so I think there were a lot of promises not kept. And I think they got caught up in some of that. And I think that's why there was a gap there.
I
if I'm
watched
not-
a video of this the other day because I just happened to have 10 DVDs.
Just by chance, he has
Robert
10 DVDs. Of course.
Robert said that between Airy Fairy Nonsense and Touch Me, their equipment was repossessed, and
Oh.
somebody had stolen all their equipment out of the studio, and they had
That
nothing to-
sucks.
That would slow you down a bit.
That'll put a crimp That's
Just
what they
a
call a
bit.
spanner in the
That's
works.
that's a bitch.
Not good, not good. But the album itself is good.
I
It's
love the
good.
album. And side 2 is one song all by itself called "I'll Be Unfair." It's 16 minutes long.
Yeah.
I just
Side
think-
1 is all is supposed to be a connected piece also, but it's 4 individual tracks.
Yeah, it's called Charades.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's section 1 is Humoresque, Cortege, Elegy, Touch Me, and Galabant.
Nice.
And they're still doing Humoresque today. To this day, I saw a live performance with them back in March, where they just did it on YouTube for free. The whole concert was like 3 hours, and they opened with Humoresque. and it was killer.
I love side 1 of this album. It's possibly my favorite side of music from the Enid.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I'm not a huge I'll Be Unfair fan. It loses me. I can't sink my teeth into it like Fanned. I finally ended up getting I'll Be Unfair. Just still, I'm not there. But man, side 1 of this album is really, really, really good.
There you go.
Yeah, again, it's so different than what everybody else is doing out
Yeah.
there in the world, you know.
Well,
It's just, this is 1978.
Yeah.
77 it came out. But
So
I'm just
touch-
curious, but what has happened between 1977 and 1979? How did the band progress? What is it about this record that is different than what came before?
It's definitely a lot more on the rock side. I think they were
Yeah, there's
hearing
more,
things-
it's more up tempo. Yeah, definitely.
they were hearing everything going on in the world, obviously, and there had to be a response. The first 2 albums didn't sell at all on either side of the pond. They were getting a lot of notice from
He
the
looks exactly
English
like
press.
that now.
There he is. Who is
He
that?
looks like Beethoven. I tell you.
Beethoven. There you go.
He looks like Beethoven now.
Ludwig
What do you think?
Beethoven looks
Because
exactly
they
like-
go for more of that rock angle,
Yeah, they do.
Scott. Do you think it's because they're trying to be? I can't imagine them ever having a hit.
No.
But do you think it was just a natural progression? Do you think they're trying to be more commercial so they can sell more records? I
There's
don't.
nothing
What do you
commercial
got?
about the band.
I know
No.
there's nothing commercial about it.
Yeah, it was never about a hit, but I
Mm.
do believe it was about moving some units. And in the 70s, album sales were absolutely critical to a band's very existence. So they
Mhm.
needed to figure out a way to move some albums, and so they went a little more up tempo. It's not that big a change, actually. You know, you're not looking at, we didn't go from brain salad surgery to Love Beach here, but it
Oh
it
God!
is,
All right, Scott. I thought we could go through the whole show without mentioning Love Beach,
nah, it's never gonna happen.
but for God's sakes, man.
It's now Tormato, Love Beach, and then
Oh, I
there were
liked
3.
her motto though.
I ended up liking all 3, but you know what? I didn't need a best friend. I like them a lot. I want to.
I mean, I'm just
Come
gonna.
on, man, those are
There's
my
some,
bands.
Grant,
not
Grant, I just
everything
thought of
about Love Beach is bad. Anyway,
I
go
just
ahead.
thought of
Vern.
something. What if
Yeah.
they were one of those one and done bands we were talking about? And Love Beach was the only album they ever put out.
That's a good. Oh God, that's a
Yeah,
whole.
no one would ever remember them.
That
Oh,
would be contrarian.
no,
as
no.
hell, wouldn't it?
Where's my pen?
That would be contrarian hell right there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my God, Vran, that was
Giant for a
brilliant.
day, I already chose.
That's a brilliant concept.
good one.
Think about it, gentlemen. What if ELP came on the scene and their first album was Love Beach? How would that be interpreted as opposed to if they hadn't put anything else out?
Yeah, they definitely would have been a one and done band. I don't care what their contract said; they would have been dismissed immediately.
I know
So,
we
I
just
like
jumped the
Side
rails,
Two. I
but
think
Rand,
Side
that's
Two-
brilliant. That's brilliant,
good
Rand.
one.
It's a
I think
good one.
memoirs of an officer and a gentleman is just fine.
It's not.
I don't
bad.
think there's anything wrong with
Oh,
that.
Can I tell you a quick story about Love Beach? It only takes about 50 seconds. Me and
We're
my
fine,
friend-
Rand. As long as we go through here in an hour, we're all right.
I buy Love Beach at the works in Eureka. I drive it over to my drummer's house. We listen to side 1. He turns it over to listen to side 2 and his stereo breaks. It won't work.
Nice.
So we take the record This is a cursed album, right? We
Cursed.
take the record over to Arcata, which is like 7 miles north of Eureka. And we go to a friend's house. He's got a beautiful stereo and everything. He goes, "No, I don't want to hear the one you guys just listened to. I want to hear side 2." So we sit and listen to Memoirs of an Officer and a Gentleman. It's the first time he had ever heard it. It's the first time we had ever heard it. And I was just entranced. I thought it was wonderful. Of course, we were
Yeah.
What are you saying, Rand? What were you doing?
a little bit of herb,
Yeah.
But
Look at you.
my God, I
Rand.
thought, God, this song is absolutely so different than side 1. And he goes, "Yeah, well, it didn't kill your stereo, so it must be okay."
Yeah, it's actually listenable.
I don't know. It was the end of their contract. What are we going to do? They,
Yeah. Hey,
That's
they did
probably the
not
only
want to
person
do
that
it.
can tell the
they
story.
didn't want to do it. They wanted to hang out and get a tan.
Amit Ergadin actually had to fly to each one of their houses
To make them
individually and urge them personally, and maybe strong arm them just a little bit about the fact that you're still under contract, and if you ever want to release another album with anybody ever, you might want to listen to me, type of deal. But he went to each one of them, "Please, please, please, just one more album, please fulfill your contract." And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, Keith said it was rushed. He said he was very unhappy with it.
He was very high.
But the very like I said, the second
a lot of
side,
cocaine.
I thought
Lots
really
of
nice.
cocaine.
A lot of cocaine on the Love Beach.
Okay, so
Oh,
let's
yeah.
get off of that band.
Good times, good times.
No, it's
Same-
fun because
same
we went
better.
on a tangent. I love tangents.
Yeah,
We're going on
My
tangent.
show, damn it, Rand. We can go on a tangent if we want.
Can I show my
No.
pal?
Oh, mobile? No, we're
Mobile.
not gonna talk. So anyway, let's jump back to the Enid. So if you guys look at this third record, it's a progression to some degree. We're more rock oriented. Whether that's a commercial thing, I don't know. I don't think there's anything commercial about the Enid. But what would you guys third record in the catalog? How would you guys rank this out of 10?
Yeah, I like it. I'm giving it a solid 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, they went down in a rating from Scott. Rand, what would you say? Rand's a 10.
How'd I know he was going to do that?
Rand's never going to deviate. He loves the Enid so much.
I love this band. I mean, yes, it's my favorite group, but I got to tell you, the Enid are in the top 5.
Nice.
All right.
And I know they've had their, low moments and whatever. But you know what? I think to answer your question,
Wasn't
Greg,
it
right off
always a
the bat,
low moment? They never pushed any sold anything.
I think Touch Me has a little more aggression because they were angry about what happened to them in their businesses.
Do you think they
Getting all
were
their stuff
more?
ripped off.
Do you think that they were more angry with EMI?
Well, no, their manager. So
All right, give me
another
the
thing about-
background on that.
Well, another thing about that, real quick, let me tell you. Keith Emerson, he was doing his Concerto for Works, Volume 1, piano concerto. And the first movement and the second movement, they're really pretty and they do a lot of things. The third one goes insane. It's because his studio caught on fire and half his equipment burned up. And he decided to put that into music. And I think that's what happened.
It's kind of like Deep Purple and Smoke on the Water.
There you go.
Kind of, yeah. And Frank Zappa's the one that was loser in that one. He lost all his equipment.
Mhm.
That's all right. But
Frank rallied, though. He rallied.
But he didn't lose his life, which was good.
Right. We still had Frank.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Scott, you give this a 7.5.
I do. Yeah. Very good.
And
album.
then Rand's giving this a 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I love every note that this
Okay.
band does up until 80.
Like I said, Scott, this is Rand wanting to
Yeah.
do this topic.
All
And
right, I call. Hey.
this is what I love about Rand.
Yeah.
Rand knows his prog
He
like,
does.
well, you do too.
Well,
Don't get me
hey.
wrong.
If we were, there's certain bands that you just have that certain bias for certain
Yes.
bands. It's the
I
sweet
get it.
spot. It's great. That's what this is all about.
And
If we
you
were
know
doing
what
a
I
Neil
love
Morris
about
episode-
Rand and Scott, the thing I love about Rand is his passion for this band. And a lot of prog acts, Rand has a lot of passion
Oh yeah.
and he puts that across. And I appreciate it, because,
Well, I do
Rand's
too.
the man. as far as
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
concerned.
That's why I'm here. If I,
There you go.
I don't, I wouldn't be up on screen with a couple of chumps. Come on,
Well,
man.
I'm the
I got
chump.
a reputation to uphold.
Right.
I think I'm the oldest one on all of these shows that everybody does. I don't think anybody's older than me.
No, you're like a dinosaur, Rand. No offense. Love you. All
None
right,
taken.
let's okay. So we've got Touch Me that came out in 1979.
Yeah.
Six Pieces came out in 1979 as well. There's
Yeah.
hardly any. I mean, it's like bang bang. Oh, there you
Here we
go.
go.
That we need the artwork. Yeah.
That
Excellent.
album cover, I was just blown away by that chess
Are,
set. Those guys are in the chess set. They're a
are
little
we
buff.
100% sure that wasn't 1980 in the US?
Yeah, it says
It might be
1970.
1980,
Well, it
but
was never
try to
released in the
find
United
any
States.
info on it.
It was never released in the United States. It's a British import
So why didn't they release it?
because it's
Okay,
on Pi.
so-
It's on Pi
On
Records.
Pi, yeah.
Okay, so Touch Me,
Right.
was that released in the States?
No,
No,
It wasn't
was
either.
released-
Okay.
no, they
the
were
only,
both on
the only
Pi.
Enid album that was ever
That's
released
right.
in the States was in the
First album.
Because
Okay.
this says 1979 right on the bottom, but you can't see
Okay.
it. Small.
I guess I got it in 1980 in my store,
Well, I got mine in 1980.
but that
That's for
would have
sure.
been via one of the importers like Gem or Dutch.
I know it for
one of them.
I know it for a fact because we saw Bruford at the Stone in Palo Alto, and that's the time I bought it.
Nice. Well,
And it was the Gradually Going Tour NATO tours. That was 1980.
well, I fell in love with this album. We got it on as an import in the store. So yeah, I guess that explains why we didn't get it in 79. We got it in 80 because getting imports wasn't easy back in those days, man.
Well, you
And,
remember back in the day, Scott? I don't know if when you grew, where did you grow up?
in the Milwaukee area.
Okay. So did they have a Peaches back in the day?
We
you
did
remember
not, but
Peaches?
we had some cool record stores. But
You remember back when
loved-
I was a kid? Rand remembers Peaches, right?
Oh yeah, I love Peaches.
No, we
in
don't
Fort
have- we
Lauderdale.
didn't
That
have
was
those
my
in
spot
California.
back. When
You
I
had
lived
them in
Florida.
California. There was one in LA.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in Eureka, and that's 900 miles north of LA.
Yeah, they probably didn't have them there. But
Yeah,
we
Peaches
had
was great.
Peaches in Columbus.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I'd go there. You'd have the big murals. They had the largest import section I'd ever seen.
Oh yeah.
If you wanted all the Beatle albums as imports, they had them all.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
love-
they
I
had
love
Enid.
Peaches.
They had everything.
It blew my mind. The first time I went in there is probably 1977. Peaches, Sunrise
Mhm.
Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale. I walk
There
in
you
there.
go.
There's
I know
this
what-
dude
yep.
with the long hair. He's the store manager by day. He's in a band at night, and I want to be this guy so bad, right? It's funny
Right.
how that I tried to actually make that. Oh wow, I made it happen. Big deal. Choose your heroes carefully, boys and girls. Don't let it be the dude working at Peaches in Fort Lauderdale in 1977. Anyway, my mind was blown by this story.
This is a lesson for you young.
Yeah, life lesson, boys and girls.
But you remember back in the day, they had like an import section that
Yeah.
was unbelievable. The cutouts that they had,
oh, yeah.
absolutely whatever you wanted, you just could go into Peaches and they had it.
And I would spend all day in there. And I
Yeah.
figured out real soon, if I'm gonna be hanging out in a record store all day, I should probably work and want to get paid. So that's what I basically ended
See,
up
that's
doing.
what I always wanted to do, but I never ever I did.
Yeah.
I worked in a guitar store for
Yeah, I wasted my
years.
life.
I
I
didn't
was
work
that
in
close to working in the same store that Mike Patton ended up working in.
Nice.
I knew
didn't
Mike
get the
Patton
job.
would come up again. You can't get
Nice.
through a
He
show
was so good.
without
That guy
Rand
was
talking
so
about
good at-
Mike Patton.
That guy was so good at customer service. He was, I just can't say enough about him. He was amazing.
Wow.
He is just always like, what can I help you? What can I do? Just very, very, very good.
It's called stage presence.
He was
It's
great.
not that different. When you're running a retail store, it's not that different than, running a YouTube channel or being the lead singer in a band. You've got to have a certain something that all eyes on me. I got this.
Well, he was a
And,
high school student when he got the job.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so cool,
Mr.
man.
Like Mr. Bungle was formed at Eureka High, the school that I graduated from.
Love my
But see, I
cat.
was older than these guys. I graduated at 70. Mr. Bungle didn't happen until
70.
1991.
Wow.
Oh,
He's old.
I'm old. Oh, I got something to say about this album. So I get online, you know, I start
Okay.
contacting people. I contact the Enid and people that like the Enid, and I start asking questions like, how come the music stopped being so intense? Like Punch and Judy Man and like the Ringmaster and Chilla de Roland, they don't seem to do the rocky stuff anymore.
Yeah.
The Spell was very like non-rock, and it was just, the Spell is like what it sounds like. It's very trance-like music.
mhm.
And they said, well, because there was a guy in the band named William Gilmore, who wrote Punch and Judy Man, and pretty much with Robert Godfrey, and Robert Godfrey and him kind of like Roger Waters and Gilmore, the other Gilmore, David. They didn't gel very well and everything. So Willie Gilmore and the other guy, Martin Russell, they leave the band and they get together with William's brother, Grant Gilmore, and they
Oh.
put out in 1983 a band called Kraft.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yep.
And this is more like Punch and Judy Man. This album is absolutely blistering.
That's a
Not
really good album.
but it's really good. And also they just remastered it and put it out with extra bonus tracks. So
I
ended
knew
up-
there was a connection to the Enid. Thank you for clearing that up with me.
I ended up buying both. I have the original that I bought way back in, I think I was at Prog Fest 95 and I got it from Kinesis Records in their little vendor. But ended up getting that. And since I'm on the subject of offshoots, in 1993, they get some hotshot guitar player who's really, really good named Nick May. But he doesn't stay very long. They put out an album called Tripping the Light Fantastic, and they do a tour, and he pretty much is just gone. So I got in kind of contact with him because he told me he had a project called Whimwise. And if you go on to Discogs, you can't find it. If you put it in, it goes, oh no, you've reached a bootleg or something. But look at this. I bought this directly from him.
Well, there you go.
Oh, I've got
Whimwise.
that too, because you made me buy it.
Did you like it?
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh man, you don't know what you're missing. This
I've
is
got
like-
it.
this-
That's
I'm
half the
glad you did it.
battle, Rand. I can't do
I'm
it.
glad you- Oh no, I get you. Possession is half the battle for sure. I'm so glad you did it because it's really rare. This is hard to get. And you got a good deal on it, right?
I did
But,
because you told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on eBay.
I'm going
for
to listen to it tonight because after all this Enid talk, I'm all worked
anyway-
up. So I'll
but
listen.
I
anyway,
know that
you
that
like-
1994 Tripping the Light Fantastic,
the
whatever.
Light
That was a good
Fantastic.
record.
Yeah, they did the Dark Hydraulic all the time. In fact, they ended the concert when they did online the other day with that song. But look at this. It's a CDR.
Oh,
Wow.
it is. Yeah.
Because you
Nice.
can't get these. You cannot
Where
get
is
these
mine?
anywhere.
Nice.
These are so rare. If you find one of these and you like Punch and Judy Man and the Ringmaster, get this. This is
Yeah.
It's in a
amazing.
stack, but I don't know if mine's a CDR.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
I know you
matter.
don't have a
It's
real
just
CD because we
interesting.
never made one.
But
But anyway, he-
I'll have to look
Anyway,
at it.
Nick was really nice, and I sent him some money, and he sent me a CD. So it worked out pretty good. Good trade.
So yeah. Punch and Judy, man, what a great song.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, the first time I heard that, it was like, and
Just crazy
it goes,
good.
and then it goes down, down, and you're just going, what the hell is this? This band doesn't do this.
I take that back. It came today.
Hey,
Good for you. I'm so
Nice.
proud of you.
God, I am.
Grant, you just,
Mine is not a CD. It's a real CD.
oh no, yeah, well, turn it over. What's the cover look like? No. The one in your hand. Yeah, feel it. Does it feel like paper?
No, this is. I can
No
tell.
print.
This is a factory press CD.
yeah.
Wow. What
You
company is
can
it
tell.
on?
Oh
Can
God!
always see a CD.
Put my glasses on.
Yeah.
Just
It's
curious.
on AMP Records.
Yeah, AMP CD 052. Nick
Oh,
May.
this is
2005.
factory press, boys.
Hey,
This
you
is
gotta steal.
CDR. That's
Yeah.
factory
Okay.
pressed, Rand.
I
That's
guess,
not a
I guess
CD.
I was wrong. I guess I was wrong. My
You don't
bad.
feel so special now, do you?
I don't feel so wrong. I mean, bad. I mean, I don't feel. Never mind.
No, that's a factory press
You
CD.
just confused me.
No, we're just talking.
No, I really like how
I'm putting it on. I'm going to listen to it tonight because you got me all worked up.
Six Pieces
so good.
starts with that incredible Punch and Judy, man,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
ends with the Dreamer, which I really, really enjoy. That something about the melodicism at play here. It feels like the end of an era,
Mhm.
even though subconsciously
It is an
perhaps
end
they
of an
didn't
era,
know
though.
it at
The end of
time.
the instrumental era.
And it feels like it, and it's so beautiful. And as a result, this is probably my second favorite album from the Enid.
Yeah.
I really, really like this one a lot.
So you give this, if it's your second favorite,
It's probably
Well,
somewhere right around 8.6, 8.7.
8.6, 8.7. God
Yeah.
darn it. Look at you.
Strong.
Rand, what's your thoughts on this? Six Pieces.
Well, since it's the introduction to my love for this band, and it just literally tore my head off with Punch and Judy, man. That song alone, to me, gives this album a 10. It doesn't even matter what the rest of the album does. The Ringmaster is really cool, though. I really
That's a good
like
track
that.
too.
Yeah. But no, yeah, all four of these are
All the
10s.
Mirrors.
I'm gonna give them a 40.
40 out of 40.
40.
You're going to give it a 40?
No, I mean all four together.
So another
Now, what
10
did-
out
what
of
did mine
10.
come up
10,
to?
10.
Let me add
But I
my
mean, I
total
ordered
here.
this, but this came from the UK.
10, 10,
I mean,
10. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
That's where
right.
mine's from.
Okay.
Nick May sold these by himself, and I don't know how it ended up on what's that place called? eBay.
eBay?
No,
I don't know how it ended up on eBay, but this is the coolest stuff. I mean, but they actually toured. They played in England. There's videos, small short videos of them playing live on YouTube, but they don't seem to have like a full song, which is I find just absolutely bizarre.
yeah.
Hmm.
You know,
But maybe
nothing.
they do have full songs. They're like 8 minutes long, but there's a bunch. You can go look them up on Wimwise. That's what they call themselves.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out.
There
But
you go.
I just
Yeah,
added up my score. I'm 34 out of 40.
34
there
out
you
of
go.
40.
That's
That's
pretty
good.
Does that sound low?
Well, it would
That's
to
a little low.
Rand. It would to
Sounds
Rand because
hard.
it's 10, 10, 10 all the way.
Yeah, but I'm kind of a special case because I've been into this band since 1980.
Mhm.
I just fell in love with them from the very beginning. Had Punch and Judy Man not been the first song, I might not have felt the same way. But
Yeah.
that song just tore my head off. My friends were looking at me like, "Oh my God, did you score?" They were upset they didn't buy the record.
Hey, sequencing is important. You know, you gotta.
Oh yeah, timing and track listing is everything.
It is.
Well, we did a show, Scott, on sequencing, and it's very important.
Oh yeah.
That can make or break a record.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. I'm
can we go
fixing to
through the video
review an album tomorrow that yeah, I almost just gave up on it because it's so backloaded that I almost gave up because I kept falling asleep every time. I'm gonna listen to this record, get ready for a review, and I'd be asleep.
Yeah, Rand, you want to go through the videos?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, you're fine. We're all right.
Okay, the first one they put out was Live at the Hammersmith Odeon, 1979. It's called Live at the Hammersmith Odeon. Now you can get this-
Recycled graphics. So
When
it
I
must
was
be
saying-
that tour.
what I said before about Inner Sanctum. This is on a company called Operation Seraphim, which is their company.
There
Okay.
you go.
So
If you
it's
want to look for
independently
that.
released.
I know
Yeah.
it was a weird thing not to buy a certain thing without
Yeah.
telling everybody what to buy, but I am doing that now. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one was live at or Something Wicked This Way Comes, live at Claret Hall Farm and Stonehenge, 1998, not 98, 1984, excuse me. And it comes in this little package. And I got this on eBay. This is really good. I got this for $6.
Oh wow. Nice.
And it's amazing. I watched the whole thing. They perform at a farm where they're living at, and Robert John Godfrey's playing this mini Moog, and it sounds like a symphony. And I'm going, how did they do that? But yeah, it's really cool.
It's cool.
It's really cool. And then I just got this in the mail today. I got really lucky. Remember I told you I was waiting for 3?
Yeah.
They showed up on the day of our show. How's that for weird? This is live at Night of the Prog Festival, Lorelei 2010. And
Nice.
it's short. It's got Judgment Day in the Region of the Summer Stars, Sheets of Blue, The Dark Hydraulic Forces of the Id, and Childer Roland. So I haven't had a chance to watch this because I just got it. Then I got this. Now you have to have a DVD player that'll play PAL. You know what PAL is? PAL.
Yeah. European. Yeah.
Live at Birmingham. This is, I think, 2012.
Look, I'm on the screen.
This is really good. This is really good, but it's the Journey's End tour, basically. Excuse me. I ran out of something to drink. So it says live at Town Hall, Birmingham.
Man, don't cough up a lung, for God's sakes.
I'm trying not to.
All right.
Anyway, I ran out of something to drink. Anyways, the Enid in concert in Crescendo. This is the this is like Invicta Live with other hits that they have.
Nice.
Okay.
This is really good. I believe this plays on regular. This is Operation Seraphim again. Excuse me. I'll just keep doing that, I guess. And this is called The Bridge Show, live at Union Chapel. This has Joe Payne. That's him on the cover. I don't know if you can see it. What a singer. God grant, this guy is an amazing singer.
Yeah, Joe Payne's incredible.
Yeah, I don't not for with Joe
He
Payne.
sings as high as Annie Haslam. Think about that.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's an unbelievable vocalist. Excuse me. I just coughed on my Hammond organ. Anyway, 3 discs, 2 CDs, 1 DVD.
Very
Really
nice.
good. Watch this, just absolutely entranced. Then they put out something called HRH Prog 4. And don't be fooled, because you can get this directly from the band for $7, and I bought it on eBay for $65. Before I found out about the Enid, and I tried to return it, and the guy wouldn't do it. You know who you are.
Not
But
cool.
yeah, that's a good one. That's
Probably an
got,
Enid Vrody selling them.
this has the Invicta and the Dust songs. There's an album called Dust that came after Invicta. I won't name all the tunes.
It's okay.
Then another one I got today was called The Dust Show.
My God, how much shit are you getting, Rand?
I got 10. They released 10. I
My
bought 10.
God.
Again,
You
this
are
is on
addicted.
Operation Seraphim. This is on Operation Seraphim. Well, once you start watching this group, you can't stop. I mean, it's amazing to watch this guitar player they have named Jason Ducker. And then they just ordered a new one named Alfredo Randazzo. It's got my name in it. But look at this. You get no booklet, just a DVD.
Yeah.
Bare bones.
Bare
the
bones.
Enid's got the double guitar attack again now.
Yeah, right. And then this is called Lockdown Live Blu-ray from the Bijou. Just got this today. Haven't heard it.
Nice.
It's got pretty much what they did. Well, yeah, they kind of go through their albums and stuff, but they don't ever go into like The Spell, or they don't play stuff like that live. And they don't do, I don't think, Salome or Seed in the Sower. I don't think they do things like that.
I don't.
And then the last one on the list is the Enid, 40 years.
I'll be darned.
And this has, I got to be careful how I open this because all the discs can fall out. It's very weird packaging, but it looks like this and like this.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think that Sun thing is from an album called Druckfarben.
Yeah.
You know about those? You know,
I know
about
Druckfarben. Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Canadian.
Like Farfanugan.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
similar.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Yes. Band.
Here's some of the pictures. There's a booklet in here. This is a really nice DVD, and it doesn't cost that much. I was really surprised it wasn't that expensive. But see, it's look at this.
Oh yeah.
Very nice.
Redid, and the booklet and everything. Yeah, it's just trying to remember how it all goes back. That's the hardest part. And that's it. That's the 10
Very
DVD,
nice.
9 DVDs and 1 Blu-ray. I just can't say enough about this band. To me, they're just so excellent. The only criticism is why aren't they more popular?
Yeah.
Because there's a
Well,
lot of
not
prog fans.
accessible.
I think, here's my opinion. I think there are thousands of prog fans on this planet that would go apeshit over this band if they knew they existed.
Well,
I
a lot
agree.
of it
Why we
might have
made this
been.
show.
Think about it.
That's
Did
why we made this show.
EMI, did Pi promote this band? Did they have
No.
any backing? Did they have any
No.
promotion? Well, that's key.
This is why we're giving them some love.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about, man.
I hope their sales in Operation Seraphim just go through the roof from this video.
That's
because
right.
that band
Well,
That's
needs
what
we
we're
can
here.
only
all
hope.
the help they can get right now.
Well,
love
hopefully
it.
someone
I-
sees it. I don't know.
Oh God, Grant, you're going to get a lot of
You think?
yeah.
You're
It
good.
might hit that algorithm and take
That's
off.
right. Hit that
Well,
sweet spot.
we'll put it on. It's going to go on YouTube. I'll run it to Facebook. People will
Right.
see it.
I'll promote it on the Contrarians.
There you
There you
go.
go.
So we'll be good. All right. So I'm going to say that Rand gives all 4 records a 10. And Scott, your average was what, at 8.5
Yeah, probably high
5?
8s. Yeah.
high 8s.
Yeah.
So if you're into prog, you're into any kind of progressive music. Hell, if you're into classical and you like classical and you turn
Yeah.
it on its head, this might be for you.
Well, there's
Um,
that lady classical lady Amy doing these things on YouTube, and I keep sending her notes about why don't you get into the Enid? It'd be right up your alley. She plays harp. She's a real
Oh, yeah.
classic. But nobody's turning her on to. Everybody's turning her on to the Beatles and rock and roll.
But I'm going to say that if we look at the region of the Summer Stars, this is probably the most purest record before more of that rock element came into play. And I'm not saying the rock element is bad. It's a little bit different. But I was just going to say,
That
before we
song, The
wrap it up,
Devil, is
if
real,
you
real
were going to,
dark.
if you gentlemen were going to recommend one Enid record from these 4 for someone to get started with, which one would it be? First record?
Yeah, I think so.
Scott, first record.
I'm going with 6 pieces.
Oh,
All right,
It
6
catches you a little
pieces.
faster. So
All right.
you kind of screwed me over there.
I
No,
yes.
that's all right. That's
I
all right.
saw
We
what
don't-
you did there.
We don't have to be together like that.
No, this
That's
is
right.
all about talking about it and just
Yeah.
turning people
But
on.
there
That's
is
all.
a piece. There is a little piece on that in the region of the Summer Stars that first thing that I noticed that really attracted me to it was the darkness of the guitars. They were doing a lot of diminished chords.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. And, it was like shuffling lizard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A
All right.
lot of diminished chords, a lot of Phrygian mode, a lot of referencing earlier classical pieces, but on modern electric ensemble. Just cool band.
Yeah.
Thumbs up to the
There you
Enid.
go.
And
Gentlemen,
to watch
it's
him on
a
stage,
pleasure.
that one I showed you, that 79 one, when you watch him on stage, you got guys there like Willie Gilmore playing one keyboard with his left hand, another keyboard with his right, and Robert John Godfrey's on the same keyboard, way higher, playing the left hand on that same keyboard. I mean,
It's 'cause
I've
he's
never seen
cool.
anything like that in my life.
He's cool.
They're actually playing the same keyboard.
That's awesome.
Got to see that video. The whole thing's on YouTube. It's called Stan. I forgot what it's called. It's all on YouTube,
Right.
but it's not called Live at Hammersmith. It's got
Everything's on YouTube. You know that.
It
Yeah,
is.
just go to the Enid. You'll see it. The whole
Right.
concert's there. You'll just be blown away. Turn it up.
All right,
loud.
boys, let's wrap this one up. We've went an hour. We've looked at the first four Enid records, all instrumental, very different from anything else that's out at the time. From basically the reviews here mean it's a no. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Totally worth getting it. If you like prog, this is one of the bands you need to check out. So at this point, I'm going to thank Rand Kelly. You've seen Rand here before. And Scott from the Prog Corners, his first time on the show.
Thanks for having
A
me.
great discussion.
Yeah, thanks for
Holy
coming in.
mackerel. The time just went by like that. This is
Yes,
what we
sir.
like.
Here's to
Nice
you.
general discussion, and he's having to do. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for coming on tonight and talking Enid. So much fun.
Thank you, Grant. I appreciate you doing that because that band deserves some love.
It does. And I want to thank Rand for coming up with this topic. And hey, thanks for Scott for coming on. Hopefully we can collaborate on some more
Yeah.
shows.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for having me, and
it's freaking great.
we will see you soon.
We will see it soon. Everybody, please like, subscribe. You know the whole routine. And I'll put, actually, Scott, I need to put your links to your channel below. So if you're interested in checking out Scott's channel, please check the links below. And Rand Kelly, I need to put Rand's links in there too, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I keep asking you to do that.
I know, but you know, Rand, you tell me to do stuff and I just go, it's Rand. But anyway, thanks, gentlemen, for coming
Have a
on.
great
We will
night.
see everybody.